This is a FarmDoc Daily webinar. I'm University of Illinois Extension's Todd Gleason. Thank you for joining us. This is part of the Farm Profitability and Risk Going into 2022 series. There are 4 in the series. If you're here today, you're already signed up for all 4 of them. This is the second in the series. Today, we're going to talk about Post Application Coverage Endorsement. That's the PACE endorsement for crop insurance. Here are some of the entities that were involved, by the way, in the development of PACE as an endorsement for crop insurance. People behind the data and putting it all together as part of the crop insurance side, meaning the folks that were running the numbers, include Ag Analytics and Illinois researchers. And then, of course, the supporting organizations, those organizations that believe this is something that should be put forth as a pilot program, include AGREE, Transforming Food and Ag Policy, the National Corn Growers Association, the Illinois Corn Growers Association, and the Meridian Institute. And the sponsoring crop insurance companies include Country Financial and Crop Risk Services. Those are the folks that say, we think this is something worthwhile and we should explore it. Let's begin by picking up a couple of answers from you. We'll take a survey. What percentage of nitrogen do you plan on applying after planting? Not before, not this spring early, but after you plant. How much nitrogen do you plan to apply? While you're doing that survey, I'll tell you that our sponsors for the day here include the TIA Center for Farmland Research. That's on campus at farmland.illinois.edu. Compere Financial, Corteva AgriSciences, Farm Credit Illinois, FS Growmark, the corn growers in the state, and the Illinois Soybean Association, all helping to sponsor the program for the day. And we're moving through, picking up some of your answers. Go ahead and fill out that survey. I'll preview some of the topics that we're about to take up as well. While you're finishing the survey up, we'll talk about the product description for PACE, how to make a PACE claim, and how to use some of the tools that have been developed by the agricultural economist here on campus and that are online in the FarmDoc section under the FAST tools. So we'll do all of that today. Let's go ahead and close out the survey. 18% of you say that, oh, I've forgotten what I have to go back and look at the what we said. How much nitrogen do you plan to apply after planting? 18% of you say you're not going to do any of it. 25% say less than 25%. And, 41%, that looks like a pretty good sized number. Gary Schnitkey, agricultural economist at the U of I, to me, that say they're going to apply somewhere between 25 and 50% after planting. I'm surprised it's that large. Can you tell me what you think of that particular number, and then take us through the PACE product description, please? Good morning to you, by the way.
Good morning, Todd. And actually, that's about the number that I would have expected. And you'll see a lot of examples that we run with 40%. So, yeah, thank you, Todd. And today we're going to be talking about PACE, and we're going to do 3 things today. We're going to describe the product. PACE is a product that's available for the first time this year. We will give a description of that. We will talk about the claim process, or if you have if you want to make a claim on PACE, we will describe that. And then finally, we will talk about a FAST tool that we've developed here, Ryan, that will help with you making some of the decisions relative to PACE. So let's start here with PACE, the product description. And again, this is related to nitrogen applications post-plant. So we're looking at post-plant nitrogen application. Again, the name of it is Post Application Coverage Endorsement, PACE. We probably worked pretty hard to get a PACE acronym out of that. But anyway, what this does is provide payments if you cannot apply nitrogen after planting because of weather-related reasons. All crop insurance is related to weather and natural causes, so the reasons for not being able to apply nitrogen is because of weather-related reasons. In the last year where this might have been widespread was 2019. PACE is an event insurance. It's like hail in that sense. And it's an event insurance that it means that if it happens, you get paid. The final yield does not matter. So, for example, if you have hail insurance, which many people do, if it hails, you get paid a premium, usually based on the percent of the crop that is damaged. In this case, if you are not able to apply nitrogen after planting, there will be a payment. So it's a very simple product. You do not have to keep track of yields. It's a matter of can you or can you not apply nitrogen post-planting. This product is an endorsement, or it's available for the following three products: RP, RP with harvest price exclusion, and YP. So if you buy those as your underlying product, RP, RP with HPE, and YP, you can buy PACE. It is not available for the area products, ARP, area revenue protection with harvest price exclusion, and area yield protection. You have to have one of those farm level products to use PACE. Again, this is available for the first time this year. 2022 is a pilot year, and the counties in blue are the pilot area. You'll see that the pilot area is roughly northern Illinois without the northeast corner. A lot of north and central Iowa going over into Nebraska, South Dakota, and some parts of North Dakota, Kansas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. So those are the pilot area. As is typical with new products, there is a pilot area, and if everything goes well, those areas will expand over time. So this is the pilot area for this year. It was selected, again, this is pretty typical for new products within RMA, is that it's piloted in a pilot area. Just to give you a feel, this is the implied chances of missing a post-plant application according to the actuarials. And I would note that this is with a load. So our actuarials, if you put those probabilities together, you calculate a probability, and then you load it for catastrophic events. You can see here, for example, that in northern Illinois, actually the chance of missing a post application are very low, close to 4%. Those increase some as we move down in the state, but our implied probabilities here that would be a 4% probability. Excuse me, I got ahead of myself. So this will give you a feel for what the probabilities of missing an application are implied by that PACE application. So that's the pilot area, sort of the implied probability of missing in a post application. Again, those are loaded, which means that they are overstate that probability because of the load put on the crop insurance product. I am going to run through an example of PACE. This is going to be a 2022 example. We're going to go through it for LaSalle County, Illinois. And the situation is $5.80 projected price. We're using that price now. Everybody should be somewhat happy because our projected price is going to be fairly high this year, which will provide good protection. The negative of that is that your premiums are going to be higher as well. And we're going to look at a situation where the trend adjusted yield is 220 bushels per acre. And that does matter in the PACE application. Farmers have till March 15th to make the decision. That's the same date as all other crop insurance policies. PACE will be like other insurance policies in that it will be a continuation policy. You make the decision to use PACE unless you make a change by March 15th of next year, you have the product. What you will decide by March 15th and you're going to report this by March 15th, total N that you plan on applying for the year. You are going to state what percent you plan on applying post-plant. And the policy allows post-application percents from 25% up to 80%. So an 80% policy would mean that you're applying over or at 80% of your nitrogen budget post-plant. The 40% would mean that 60% are being applied prior to planting. For this year, that might be from a fall application and top it off after planning. The other thing that will have to be decided is a post-coverage level election, and we'll go through each one of those. Those range from 75 to 90%. And once you say those two things, I can tell you, by the way, to say those things, you got to know 580, 220, and I went ahead of myself here, Jim, but I'm back. If I choose a 40% post-application percent, I have a $2.82 farmer paid premium. That's at 580 for LaSalle County. And if I get post-applied, or I can't post-applied, I will get a $69 premium. And we wrote all those things down here, 282, 69, and just a note, that $69 payment here, we can magnify that, but if the harvest price goes up. So this is like an RP policy. If the harvest price is above the projected price, that $69 payment will go up. So the event is I can't make my post applications. I want to protect against that. 282 will be the cost, and I would get an indemnity payment of $69 if I cannot apply. And again, the yield does not matter in this case. The reason for this design, again, part of the reason for PACE is that some farmers have expressed reluctance in relying on post applications for the financial risk associated with not getting it on and then having lower yields. That is in crop insurance or insurance can step in to mitigate the financial risk associated with that. And then that will hopefully take that risk out of that decision. And that's actually why two of our sponsors, Agree and Meridian, are part of this policy, because of the environmental benefits that may result from that. Again, let's just go over those decisions that you have to make. Post-application percent, you're going to report your total N and amount applied post-plant. And I just gave a simple example here. 220 pounds of actual N, I'm going to apply 120 pounds in fall, 80 pounds post-plant. My post-application percent would be 40%. That will then determine the farmer paid premium and the PACE indemnity. So you will need to report those by March 15th. So those decisions or those reporting need to be made by March 15th. The second thing that has to be decided is the coverage level, and that can range from 75% to 90%. And 75, and this is going to influence the premiums when they happen and the payments. So these two columns give us 75%. And if I have a 75% to 40% application, I will have a $1.15 premium per acre. The indemnity, if it happens, will be $57. So that's the lowest. This is 90%, 282 versus 69. So if I increase the PACE coverage level, I'm increasing the payment, farmer paid premium, and the indemnity payment. This is sort of, you have these options under ECL, SCL, and ARP as well. So those are the two things that influence that. The other decision that you will make is the unit that you will use to decide to cover PACE on. And that does not have to be the same as the unit as the underlying RP product. So if you're using enterprise units, which is all crops in one county, you can choose for PACE, basic and optional units. If you're using basic units for the underlying product, RP in my example, you can choose basic or optional units. If you're choosing optional units, you're going to use optional units. Enterprise units, again, all one crop in the county, largest unit for a county. Basic units, divide those up by ownership split, and then optional units, divide those up, basic units up by township section. So as you go down the list, you lower the number of acres insured. The reason why this is in place is because if a farmer only does post applications on 25% of the acres, they don't have to insure all the enterprise unit, but can do the optional units, which hopefully match more closely where those post application percents happen. Again, you do not have to insure all basic and optional units. You can insure only those where post applications are made. One other note here is that if you have enterprise units in 2 counties, if you're farming in 2 counties and have corn policies in both, you can use PACE on one and not the other. And that's the same with all endorsements, by the way. But if you choose to use PACE, you must insure all units that majority are post-applied. So those are the rules. And again, if you have an enterprise unit and you're only doing a certain area of your farm in your county, you could break it down to enterprise units. The one thing that does cause is higher farmer paid premiums. And we divide this out by enterprise units, basic units, and optional units. And at our 40% level, our farmer paid premium is $282 per acre. If we go to basic units, it's $372, and same with optional. The reason why it goes up is because there are higher subsidies for enterprise units than basic and optional units. So more of the product is being subsidized. The PACE indemnity is the same per acre. So the difference there is due to subsidies on the basic and optional units. And again, the unit choice will not influence per acre payments. So that's the basics of the product. And now I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about making a claim. So now you've put this in place, you made the decision by March 15th to choose PACE. Now you come to the end of June and you have not made a nitrogen application. The first thing to note here is that farmers initiate the claim process. So if you do not make a claim, there will not be any payment. So there's nothing automatic about this policy. If you reach the end of a specified period and haven't applied nitrogen, then you can make a claim. There is a window listed in actual documents for making post applications that depend on planning date, and this will vary by county. But a May 1 planning, you typically the actuarials would say that the post application would be between June 1 and June 22nd. Now the farmer is not restricted to apply during that June 1 or June 22nd period. Nitrogen could be applied May 31st, May 30th, May 29th, or it could be applied June 23rd. That window is the one that crop insurance companies are going to look at and see, was there adverse weather happening between those two dates? So this is sort of a check to make sure that adverse weather is happening during the period. And crop insurance companies will be provided weather analytics between those dates. So those dates are important because crop insurance companies are going to get a report that says more or less whether it was good or not for applying nitrogen. A PACE claim is going to receive scrutiny if the weather analytics indicate that adverse weather did not exist. So if you make a claim, if you make a claim, if a person makes a claim and there's no bad weather indicated, that's going to receive scrutiny. PACE will be somewhat like prevent plant in its application. Once the final plant date has been reached on prevent plant, the farmer can take prevent plant. It's unusual for there only to be one prevent plant claim in an area, so that it's just as unusual, which doesn't mean it can't happen, but it is unusual. If that claim is made, it has to be because of weather-related causes. It cannot be because of supply issues, and that issue has come up this year with our tight input markets and our concerns primarily about glyphosate, but there has been some concern about nitrogen as well. If nitrogen is not available from a supply standpoint, that is not a weather-related cause. Frankly, I don't believe that's going to be a concern this year, but we will wait and see. I think you'll get as much as you want to. Just might cost you an arm and a leg. Farmers need to indicate to the crop insurance agent that applications cannot be made, the acres that it cannot be made. So this is not an all or nothing thing. If you can't apply it, if a unit is 100 acres and you're only able to not apply on 10 acres, the claim is for those 10 acres. So at that point in time, the PACE insured acres will be reported. And let's say in my example here that 10 acres are reported not applied, payment would be $690 per acre. So we have a question here which I'll answer. Why do you think RMA is providing this program? Do you think conservation efforts should be part of the crop insurance program? And the process that brought this product forward is what's called a 508H project, which means a group brought that product forward, and you saw the list of the people that brought that forward. It was Agri Analytics was the developer, Meridian and Agree, National Corn Growers, Illinois Corn, and Country and CRS brought that forward and made an application to the FCIC, Federal Crop Insurance Corporation Board. So they made that application to the board, and then it went through a review process and eventually was accepted by the board. Do I think that conservation efforts should be done via crop insurance? But do you agree that it should have been approved? All right, so you want to know if I think it should have been approved. Well, I was part of the group that brought it forward, so the answer to that is probably yes. I think in this case that crop insurance is going to insure events that are specifically addressed in the statute as being insurable. And they agreed that this is a weather-related event that could be insurable. Do I think that we should be doing this more for other conservation events? I would answer that by saying if you can make the case that those conservation events have an impact on rates. So if you have an event that, so let's take cover crops. If you can show that it will reduce risk down the road, then yes, you can think about insurance. If it has no documented impact on risk, then no, you shouldn't be doing that. So and in the PACE case, you have actuarials that you can develop You can argue with those, but you have actuaries that you can develop and then put it forward. We'll come back to that question later on. We got to keep moving here. That's a good question as well. I got to. Why not support NRCS conservation programs? I think that the crop insurance is about risk. NRCS is about subsidy sorts of conservation programs. All right, let's go back to PACE here, and let's think about two checks. All right, so you made a claim. There are two checks that are going to automatically happen when you make a claim. One of those is that they're going to check the post-application percent to see if before applications cause a lower post-application percent. And then the second one is coverage does not exceed the deductible. We got a question for you. Are you in the pilot area? So we're going to do a little poll here. See, are you in the pilot area? And we did have another question. Will this be recorded for later use? Yes, it will be, as all our webinars are, and we will actually show you sort of the place that you can go look at those later on. So we're getting close to the poll, and appreciate your interest in this. And obviously the pilot area, some people questioned that pilot area, and you have to choose one area. So we got half and half, a coin flip, almost a coin flip. 54% yes, 46% no. All right, so let's go through the two checks here. The first thing that they're going to check is whether the post-application percent is actually, if you actually, this check is to make sure that you did not report too high of a post-application percent. By March 15th, you report end application and declared post-application percent. What the check will be is if your pre-applications, what you applied exceeds the following number: approved yield, APH yield times 1.2 minus 1 minus declared post-application percent. That actually is a number that is close to what you said you would report with some buffer built in. 1.2 is usually more than most people apply. So it builds a buffer in. And if you exceed that number, the post-application percent is lowered to 1 minus that, and that would work out to being the post-application percent. So in our example, we said you're going to apply 200 pounds of post-application, or 120 pounds pre-plant, 80 pounds post-plant. We had 40% declared post-application percent, and we applied 120 pounds pre-plant and have a claim. The calculation would be 120 times approved yield is 158 pounds. So if we said we were going to apply 120 and that's what we applied, we have not exceeded the limit, and our 40% is where it's at. So in most cases, this limit will be not hard to meet. It does get harder to meet if you're applying above 1.2 times your approved yield. The second one is that there is a deductible concern. Could you elaborate how the pilot area was determined? It was the pilot area was set to be the major constraint in the pilot area was that they only wanted 30% of the acres, possible acres in the pilot area within the state. So then you had to say what counties that you would have wanted in those areas, and those were largely picked because there was a post applications that happened there. Anything you pick as a pilot area is going to be arbitrary. Why only in the pilot area, Midwest crops? If you look at the sponsoring agencies, it's National Corn Growers and Illinois Corn, and we care about corn. So that's why the Midwest. All right. So let's talk about the deductible limit. If RP pays, the PACE payment cannot exceed the deductible. And actually, this requirement is in place because crop insurance cannot overcompensate farmers, and this is what the lawyers said will not result in not overcompensation. So we cannot have a PACE payment that cannot exceed the deductible. And let me give you an example of what the deductible is. You chose RP 85%. Okay, so you chose RP 85%. You have a 220 guarantee yield, 570 price. Your deductible is $188 per acre times your insured acres. The only time that you have to be concerned about that that limit is in our example over here at the 80%, 90% coverage level. Because if you look at it, that's the only time that a per acre number exceeds our limit. So if you bought PACE indemnity or 80% at that level, you could be limited on your payments, and you could not, if your total acres were prevent from application, there would be a limit. So that limit is in place because there is a requirement that crop insurance cannot exceed the guarantee. We cannot use crop insurance to push us above the guarantee. We are now going to go and talk about our tools that we have available. Before we do that, just a question. Are you interested in using PACE? Yes, most definitely. Yes, thinking about it. No. So we'll see what you're going to say here, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the area, but we'll see what you're all thinking about here. We appreciate your doing the polls here, and we are going to close the poll now. And here's what you're saying to us about this. 34% are thinking about it, 60% said no. So that's where we're at. All right, Ryan is going to take this away and take us through the tools that we have available.
Okay, so I'm going to first start out with where to find this Post Application Coverage Endorsement tool, which you can use to calculate your premiums and your indemnities for the various options here. And I'll go through how to find our other crop insurance related tools and our other FAST tools. They're all located at the farmdoc site, which is farmdoc.illinois.edu. They're located under the Tools tab at the top. And in the case of our PACE tools, or all of our crop insurance tools, including the PACE tool and our crop insurance premium calculator, they're all located under the crop insurance section. We have additional FAST spreadsheet tools. There are several of those. Crop budgeting, all kinds of different things. They're also available. These are all Microsoft Office, Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. They're all free to download, and we'll kind of walk you through this one. They'll all work pretty similarly. So when you select an individual tool, you'll be taken to a page that'll look similar to this. It'll give a little information about the tool. One of the most important things there is the last update. So occasionally we do find errors or issues with the tool, and we try to keep that updated. So you might want to keep an eye on that. And then you'll find a description. In this case, this is the Post Application Coverage Endorsement tool. And you'll see we've got two boxes highlighted there. With all of our tools, there are two options to download them. The bottom left box is to download an installation file, which actually puts it in a folder on your spreadsheet and creates a shortcut. The one on the right just downloads the individual spreadsheet. And we have all of these tools now where they'll function on a Mac if you happen to be running Apple computers. In the past, that was an issue. And so this is the kind of the intro screen on all of our tools. It'll look pretty similar to this. So it'll give the title of the tool, and again, that simple description. And with a lot of them, you'll also need to enable macros in order for them to run. And there'll be a tab at the top, or a bar at the top of the screen that'll kind of ask you to do that. So this is a screenshot of the Post Application Coverage Endorsement tool. Pretty simple calculator, as with all of our other tools. The section in the top in the yellow with the blue text is where you're going to put in your information, and we'll go through that here in just a second. But this is a one worksheet tool. This is kind of all of it, but we'll walk through the individual sections here. So as I said, this is the input section. We're going to start by selecting your state, and as we said, this is not available everywhere. We do have all of the states and counties in which the pilot program is available in the tool. You're going to select your unit. So again, your basic, optional, or enterprise. Your underlying policy, so YP, RP, or RP HPE. Your underlying policy level, so that 50 to 85%. Put in your APH yield, so that's either your APH yield or your TA yield. Then your base price, which is again the same as the underlying policy. And then you're finally going to select your PACE coverage level. Again, that's limited to 75 to 90%. And then you'll simply get this table where you can see for the various post-application percentages what the farmer paid premium and the indemnity levels are based on your input information. So you can run through, you can change the APHs or the base price, since that's not set yet, and kind of get a feel for where the premium and indemnity levels will be. So again, this is all based on your coverage election and all of your input information. And again, the post-application percent is the amount of N that you intend to apply after planning. So in the footnotes on the tool, we had some explanation of how the program works. And we also have a link to this article which explains the PACE program in a little more detail. And the links do work within the tool as well, so they'll take you to the website. And as I said, we've got additional crop insurance tools. So we've got our crop insurance decision tool. You'll see up here in the window that pops out when you select crop insurance tools. Some of them will be labeled sheet, so those are our Excel-based tools. So the crop insurance decision tool, ECO, SCO, payment estimator, and then the post-application coverage endorsement tool. The other tools are web-based programs. So we have a crop insurance payment evaluator, as well as another premium calculator. And so if you want to look at any of the crop insurance decisions, your programs and stuff that's coming up for March 15th, we have all those tools available. This is the crop insurance page where you can see all of the actual tools. So this is our crop insurance premium calculator. This is the web-based version. Then we have, again, our Excel-based program that you can download here. It'll take you to a page that looks just like the PACE tool that we just showed you. You can download this. Again, these are all free. This will calculate your premiums for your different, RP, YP programs, and it also does the area policies as well as ECO and SCO. And we will have that program updated once the base prices are set. This is our ECO SCO payment estimator. So as I said, the crop insurance decision tool will estimate the premiums. And here you can go in and enter some different scenarios and see how the ECO and SCO programs might pay if those scenarios happen. This is our FAST tool page where you can download all of our other FAST tools. You'll see down here at the bottom, they're separated by categories. So we've got farm management tools, financial analysis, grain marketing, investment analysis, some livestock tools, loan analysis, and then risk management, which contains all of the crop insurance and farm bill related stuff. And then we have some yield and land database information.
And one final item just to cover, if you go to our FarmDoc YouTube page, we do have a crop insurance list put together. So if you go there and you want to look more at crop insurance, go to the website listed above. And we would encourage you also to subscribe to our FarmDoc YouTubes, and you'll see great coverage of a lot of different products. So
Indeed. They can do all of that.
One thing that we need to do before Todd comes on, though, is introduce a special guest. Sally Thompson is here. Todd, do you remember Sally? Obviously,
I do remember Sally Thompson. Sally Thompson is the new interim head of the Department of Agricultural and Consumer Economics. She spent some time at Purdue, was here at the University of Illinois, did a lot of great work that actually is the underpinning, I believe, Sally, of a couple of things, like the FarmDoc website. Thank you for being in studio, and glad to have you back on campus today.
Is it live?
Yeah.
Well, I'm delighted to be here and to see what the technology allows us to do and how many people we can reach. It's a great thing that the university is continuing this program and will continue this program. I've always thought this is the most effective way to do extension work and to bring our research results to the farm audience as well as other audiences too. So I'm delighted to be here, and I congratulate on everybody who's worked on FarmDoc over the last 20 some years. So it's a great program.
Yeah.
We look forward to having you here and working with you over the coming months. Thank you so much. Sally Thompson, of course, is the interim department head for the College of Agricultural, Consumer and Environmental Sciences, Department of Agricultural and Consumer Economics. That's one of our educational partners with the FarmDoc team, along with FBFM in the state of Illinois and University of Illinois Extension. We'd also like to thank our sponsors for FarmDoc. They include TIAA, the Center for Farmland Research. You can find them at farmland.illinois.edu, Compeer Financial, Corteva Agriscience, Farm Credit Illinois, the Illinois Corn Growers Association, the Illinois Soybean Association, and FS Grow. Mark, before we get back to a couple of questions that I think we'll want to answer still, just a reminder that as you leave, there is a survey to fill out. Make sure you take care of that. You did get that go.illinois.edu/crop insurance website to go visit the crop insurance only YouTube videos a little earlier. However, you can always sign up for the whole of the FarmDoc Daily YouTube site if you'd like, and it's pretty easy to do that, or you can just visit it. It's at youtube.com/FarmDoc video. That's down there in the bottom right-hand corner. And one other thing, the FarmDoc team and I will be at the Beef House in Covington, Indiana. That's not very far away now, on the 8th day of March. That's a Tuesday, for our spring outlook. The WILL agricultural panelist, if you're listening to me on the radio, the folks that I talk to, the brokers will be there, 10 of them. The FarmDoc team will be there. And for $25, there is a registration fee. We'll entertain you and provide information to you all day long. That $25 includes the morning coffee and cinnamon rolls from the Beef House. If you've not had that, and probably a lot of you have not. They're really good. And then, of course, there's a Beef House lunch included as well. You can register for all of that at WILLAG, that's willag.org. Gary Schnitkey, I believe there are a couple of final questions we'll want to wrap up before we finish for the morning.
Yep, there are a couple questions here, and we'll answer those. If you have any more, please drop them in. One of those is, what documentation is required to say what amount of application was actually used? A number of pieces of information can be used, including application maps. It all should probably tie back to an invoice at some point in time. So an invoice along with application maps will do the trick. Again, that will come into play when you're making a claim. We had a question about why not use NRCS programs rather than crop insurance. I would note that this is a crop insurance event, that we are making a risk return trade-off, which is what RMA and the risk management agencies do, and NRCS is in practices sorts of things. One of the things that I would also note is that ensuring the event of not being able to apply nitrogen is something that most organizations would not want to do, because it's a big event with a large amount of liability that's associated with that. Most organizations other than crop insurance companies are simply do not do that. Another question, is there a farmdoc quota for PACE PACE? Go to our farmdoc website and look for it. It's called PACE tool, right? Am I getting that right? PACE application tool. And it's on our farmdoc website. It is not part of the crop insurance decision tool. It is a separate item. Why not simply regulate applications of synthetic fertilizers that cause serious water quality and human health issues? There's that key word in there, simply, which brings up all sorts of issues. It's actually very difficult to regulate fertilizers, for one thing. The actual causes of water nitrates in water are complicated. They do include synthetic fertilizers, but they also include a large amount of nitrates produced by organic matter that is within the soil. So it's not totally related to nitrate fertilizers, and which is another reason why cover crops are looked to as part of the solution to our nitrate issues. We have, at this point, no other questions. We appreciate your time. I would also note that we will have another webinar next Tuesday, so go to our series there. That will be with Bob Ray, looking at some management issues and the new AMP program that we have going on. We appreciate your time. I'll turn it back over to Todd.
Yeah, so Tuesday, you'll be talking about that, and Bob, of course, will take up taxes and income and management. And then, and you're already signed up for these, so you should get an email from them. And then next Thursday, Gary will be back. Actually, Nick Paulson will be here, and Krista Swanson will be here. So with some final thoughts as it's related to ARC PLC and final risk management as we head into the final days of crop insurance setting and making some decisions by the middle of the month of March. Thank you for being with us. Thanks, Gary Schnitkey, agricultural economist here on the Urbana-Champaign campus, and Ryan Batts, researcher, for being along with us. And behind the scenes, of course, Jim Baltz. He'll get this posted to the websites. On YouTube, you can find it easily enough at farmdocdaily.illinois.edu. Look under IFAS and archives and webinars. You'll find these programs. Again, you're already signed up for the rest of them. A special thanks to Sally Thompson, the new interim department head at ACE, and we appreciate her dropping by today as well. And I've enjoyed being with you. I'm University of Illinois Extension's Todd Gleason, wishing you a good day.